Noah, Shem, Ham, Jacob, come gather around me. I have something to tell you.
Here we are, Father.
Our whole family is here, Noah. What important thing do you have to tell us?
The Lord has spoken to me. He has told me how wicked the world has become. Men have chosen to follow their own sinful desires. As a result, crime and wretchedness have increased. Marriage relation and property rights are not being respected. Men have delighted in destroying the lives of animals. Iniquity has grown so deep and widespread that the Lord can no longer bear it. He said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth.
We have labored to keep alive the knowledge of the true God and to stay the tide of moral evil.
In 120 years, the Lord will send a flood and destroy all the wickedness on earth.
How will that affect us?
We are to build an ark. While we are building, I am to preach and tell the people how God will destroy the wicked. Those who repent can be saved and find pardon.
We will help.
Well, sons, we should get going. We have a lot of work to do.
We're coming, Dad.
First, we must cut down many trees. I'll get the oxen ready. They can help drag the logs back.
Here's a basket of food for your lunch. You will be hungry working hard all day.
At last, we finally have enough trees cut down so that way we can begin building the ark.
We've been working on this ark for years.
The crowds that have gathered here are sure curious.
Father has been preaching to the crowds every day. He seems so sad. They won't believe him. They just make fun of us.
God has told me he is going to send a flood to destroy all the wickedness on earth. Those All who want to be saved must repent and come into the ark. Please, change your ways. Come into the ark.
That's some boat you're building, Noah. Yeah, where do you plan to float that big thing?
A flood, I've never heard of such. Where will the water come from?
The ark is beginning to look very good. It won't be long until it's finished.
The ark is finished. We've worked hard. All that we possess has been invested into this ark.
We have followed the explicit directions God gave you, Father, in regard to its construction in every particular.
No man could have designed a structure of such great strength and durability. Cypress wood will not decay for hundreds of years.
It looks like a hull of a ship, but in some respects, it more nearly resembles a house.
It is 3 stories high and has 1 door on the side. Light comes through the top, and the different apartments are arranged so that all are lighted.
We have enough food stored in the ark for man and beast.
Look, Father is standing up to preach to the crowds one last time.
It's not too late. Repent. No. Turn to God. I ask you to come into the ark for refuge and safety.
People, listen to me. The threatenings of God are for the purpose of intimidating and will never be verified. You need not be alarmed. Such an event as the destruction of the world by the God who made it and the punishment of the beings he has created will never take place. Be at peace. Fear not. Noah is a wild fanatic.
You're a deluded old man, Noah.
Noah, you are standing like a rock amid the tempest, surrounded by popular contempt and ridicule. You have distinguished yourself by your holy integrity and unwavering faithfulness. Connection with God has made you strong in the strength of infinite power.
Look, what is that? Beast of every description, the fiercest and the most gentle, all quietly making their way toward the ark.
What does that sound like a rushing wind? Oh, birds are flocking in from all directions. There are so many the sky looks dark. They're heading into the ark in perfect order.
I'm afraid. This is a mystery I cannot fathom. But everything else is the same. I'm sure it's nothing to be worried about.
seem to be so happy there. Even the little bird seems to know the ark is the place God said to go. The birds and the beasts and reptiles too, they make the ark look like a zoo. Birds of seven, here they come. Big animals, they are welcome. Just as God has planned, gladly obeying His command. Even the little birds seem to know the ark is the place God said to go. The birds and the beasts and reptiles too, they make the ark look like a zoo.
Well, it's time for us to go into the ark.
God has let the animals into the ark. We will care for them while they're here.
It's time for us to go into the ark. Shem, Ham, Japheth, bring your wives. Mrs. Noah, let's go. God is good. He will save us.
I am sad that no one besides the 8 people in her family chose to enter the ark for safety.
I'm encouraged that all my sons and their wives have chosen to come in. God has rewarded Noah's faithfulness and integrity. Did you see that flash of dazzling light? A cloud of glory more vivid than the lightning is hovering at the entrance of the ark.
It is impossible for any of us inside the ark to close the massive door, but it is closing by unseen hands.
We are shut in, and the rejectors of God's mercy are shut out. God has shut the door, and He alone can open it.
We've been in the ark for 7 days, and there still doesn't seem to be any sign of a coming storm.
I'm beginning to wonder if we are making a big mistake.
I can hear the people outside the ark. They're making fun of us in here.
Did I hear a loud rumble? Did you see that flash of light?
I hear the rain God told Noah about hitting the side of the boat.
The people outside sound terrified.
Could it be that Noah was in the right and that the world is doomed to destruction?
It's getting darker and darker. The rain is falling faster and faster.
were roaming about in the wildest terror. Their discordant cries seemed to moan out their own destiny and the fair land.
Then the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. Water appeared to come from clouds in mighty torrents. Jets of water burst from the earth with indescribable force, throwing massive rocks hundreds of feet into the air.
As the violence of the storm increased, trees, buildings, and rocks were hurled in every direction. The terror of the man and beast was beyond description. People could be heard wailing above the roar of the tempest.
Satan himself feared for his own existence. He had charged God with injustice and cruelty. Many people blasphemed God. Others, frantic with fear, stretched out their hands towards the ark, pleading for admittance, but their entreaties were in vain.
The ark trembled as it was beaten by merciless winds and flung from billow to billow. The cries of the beast within expressed their fear and pain, but amid the warring elements it continued to ride safely. Angels that excel in strength were commissioned to preserve it. Some people bound their children to animals or fastened themselves to lofty trees to escape the rising waters, but all were hurled into the seething billows. As the waters rose higher and higher, the people fled for refuge to the loftiest mountains. Often man and beast would struggle together for a foothold until both were swept away.
The solemn warnings of God's servant no longer seemed a subject of ridicule and scorn. How those doomed sinners longed for the opportunities which they had slighted, but the tender voice of mercy was no longer to be heard by them.
Love no less than justice demanded that God's judgments should put a check on sin. The avenging waters swept over the last retreat, and the despisers of God perished into the black depths.
I know the animals are frightened. I hope this feed will help them not notice the storm as much and make them feel less afraid.
I enjoy feeding the animals. Besides that, it helps keep us busy.
I feel less afraid when I'm helping the animals.
We have been in the ark for 5 months now. It seems we will all perish.
Don't let your faith waver. We have the assurance that the divine hand is upon the helm.
The Lord will
to stop moving so violently. We seem to quietly be floating for the past few days.
Yes, it is a great relief to us weary, tempest-tossed voyagers.
I am anxious for the water to depart so we can go out from this ark upon the earth.
The tops of the mountains have been visible for 40 days now.
We should send out a raven to see if there's dry land.
Here it comes back. I guess that means there's no dry land.
It's been another 7 days. We should send out a dove.
Here it comes back.
Well, it's been another 7 days. We should send the dove out again.
Here comes the dove. It has an olive leaf in its beak.
Yay!
We should remove the covering from the ark so that we can see out. There's dry land, but we entered at God's command, and we will wait for further directions to depart.
Go forth upon the earth and take with you every living thing. Now that we've been safely released, we must first build an altar and offer from every kind of clean beast and animal a sacrifice in our appreciation to God.
Now in prayer to say, thank you for leading
I set my rainbow in the cloud, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. It shall be when I set my cloud over the earth that the rainbow shall be seen in the cloud, and I will remember my promise, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. The waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh.
Jesus tells us in Luke 17:26, "As it was in the days of Noah, so it will also be in the days of the Son of Man." All around us we see signs of the end. Crazy things are happening in this world. Jesus is calling us to come to him for safety, just like Noah called the people in his day to come into the ark. Are you willing to answer Jesus' call and step out in faith, even if it's unpopular? Even if your family and friends fight against you? Or are you going to follow the crowd and be shut out of heaven? If you want to answer Jesus' call and come to him,